Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 2 of the Subpar Mechanics podcast. Coming at you live, I'm your host, Brian, and joining me for this week's episode is my co-host, Alljay. Say hello, Alljay.
What's up, guys?
And my other co-host, JB. Hit him up, JB.
How's it going, peeps?
And also joining us this week, we have a special guest for the first time on this podcast, our friend who we all love, Wees. Say hello, Wees.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
All right. Now that the intro's done, guys, as always, what have we been up to for the past 2 weeks? Alljay?
Man.
More nothing because lockdown?
I just been, yeah, exactly.
More nothing because lockdown. I feel it. JB, what have you been up to for the past 2 weeks?
I've been working a lot, like always. Been just living life. Really hyped that Resident Evil 8 came out and I beat it.
All right. Weiss, what have you been up to for the past 2 weeks?
Just about the same as JB, except I've been playing Path of Exile. And that is just consumed all of it.
All right. Fair enough. Well, why don't we get this show rolling with our first topic every show, as always. Alljay, JB, what animes you guys been watching?
I want to talk about, well, as far as anime, I want to kind of segue to, like, American cartoons. Because right now, actually, I finished
Hell
Invincible.
yeah.
I don't know if you...
I've seen it all. I watched it all.
Yeah? What do you feel about it?
It was really good.
Yeah?
The memes have been top tier also.
Oh, yeah. Very top tier. Basically, we'll just kind of give you guys an idea. This kid, Invincible, not very invincible. Basically, it's kind of like a Superman-ish type kind of show where, like, Invincible is like the protagonist. His dad, Omni-Man, is like the Superman of that universe, I guess. Where Superman, it's basically Superman, but he's a colonizer. Because basically they go out, they're a species of alien that kind of goes out to the galaxy and pretty much colonizes every planet that they come through. Anyways, what's up, JB?
I was gonna say I have a little bit better. Basically, take Superman if he had no such thing of what humanity was, and make him have a kid.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, yeah.
JB just straight up was like, hold up, I'm gonna do this, but 10 times better.
No, I don't mean it like that. It's just starting off with he was a colonizer. I was just like, oh wait, hold on.
I mean, I went through a little. My description was a little darker, but
you got a
it's
good
just
point,
a little
but
darker.
damn.
I guess we try to keep this friendly for everyone. But yes, he has a half-human son, I guess, named Invincible. I don't want to spoil too much, actually,
Also,
because it's a good show.
And this show is extremely gory.
It's extremely gory, but I mean, the story itself is pretty good. 4 out of 5 recommend it.
It takes a page out of The Boys, which is also an Amazon Prime original, where it accurately describes, like, if you were a normal person and somebody who had 50 times your strength were to push you, they show what happens. Like, that much force exerted on your body would break half your body just to smithereens. Even though it's animated, they do a very good job of showing how awful it would be.
I would say physicists would have a wet dream seeing these scenes. And by that I mean it's just like it kind of depicts kind of a realistic, like, what if a superhero would actually walk through you, like, on full force kind of shit, you know? I don't know.
Oh yeah, there's several scenes where he cuts people in half with just an arm movement, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah. Well, fun times, yeah.
Fair enough.
Going back
That's
to
what you've been
anime,
watching?
I mean, I haven't watched any lately. I've been watching One Piece, like one episode each day, but it's not worth talking about right now because like you know how the anime like episodes go, they kind of drag a little bit.
One Piece fans, whenever you say you don't like the show and you haven't hit episode 900 yet.
I mean, they're just disappointed. I just hit episode 900, so I'm kind of proud of myself.
He's doing the meme.
I just hit episode 900, yo. And I mean, hey, like once you hit the episode 900, like animation gets better. Like you can tell, like they really put some money into that.
I finally finished Code Geass. It was good. I'm on this. I started watching this one because me and Chris got into a small argument over Demon Slayer movie because him and Eli went to see it, and
Huh?
he's like Tanjiro's a crybaby. I hate him. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with you, bud? You don't have empathy. And
Okay,
long
Peyton.
long story short, he's just telling me about another show that had a very similar scene in it called Seraph of the End, which is from 2015, I think. That one's really good too. It's about the world gets like murdered by a virus called the apocalypse virus, and 90% of the human race is just gone. So the rest of the humans are fighting for control in this world from the vampires. Yeah, there's vampires. I don't know why, but there's vampires.
Respectable. I dig it.
And so the main character joins up with the army of the remaining humans, which are using contracts with actual demons to fight the vampires. It's really cool. It's just trying to explain it in a short form and not like give away spoilers while being interesting is really hard to say because there's a lot of shit that happened in the first like 10 episodes.
This is when Alljay just pulls a you and does what you did. He's like, hold up, I'm about to explain this 10 times better than you just did.
I fucking
No,
wish you could, 'cause that sounded like
I never
trash.
seen that one actually.
It's
Oh,
surprisingly
man.
good. It's got really good animation and a very very solid storyline. It's just the first episode gets you because the first episode is there are these kids living in the vampire city because they're livestock. And so they're like, you know what, fuck this, we're gonna escape. And as they're escaping, one of the vampire nobles is like, ha, 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 you think you can escape so easily? I planted that map there so I could catch you guys escaping and fuck y'all's days up because that gets me off.
Oh, he big brained that.
Yep, and then the main character shoots the vampire in the head and runs away.
Respectable.
According to
honestly.
plan.
Right?
Listen, all I'm saying is he did it the true American way.
The American dream.
Listen,
Alright.
you know you're in America when you're going through small town America and you see a store with a sign that says guns for sale here, there's a Popeye's chicken nearby and a Walmart up the road.
Not gonna lie, I saw that exact same lineup of like buildings while I was driving through PA. There was
Nice.
literally a gun store, a Popeyes, and then a Walmart.
I have that same lineup in the town right next to me that I was in about an hour ago.
There's a pattern
Nice.
here.
Right? There is. It's almost like you guys are from the same place.
I mean, he is only a state over.
Yeah, I'm only like a couple hours away.
Fair enough.
I
Alright,
think it
Wease,
was
you been
like
watching any anime? You got anything to add to this discussion?
I've been watching anime. It's not traditional anime style. It's like full on, like beautiful 3D. For an anime called Daluo Dalu. And it's really great. I read the
Wait,
whole manga.
is it the one about the lizard head dude?
I don't think so. It's the one where they have the souls and the rings
Oh,
and stuff.
okay, yeah, no. For some reason, whenever you said that name, I was like, did he mess up saying Doro Hidoro?
That's nowhere near what I said.
I'm just kind of stupid some days, man. Forgive me.
Some days. But anyways, I've been watching that, and the CGI is really beautiful. My buddy said he will not watch it because he doesn't like it. But I mean, it's amazing, the art style, and I just like the whole way the whole universe is.
I just want to get Brian to watch like 2 episodes of Lupin the Third to just see that stupid Spy Kids level bullshit.
Oh God, Lupin the Third! I haven't watched that forever.
I love
Jeez,
that
that's
show so
really
much.
old, yeah.
Dude, they released a movie last year called Lupin the Third, the First. It's one of the best CGI films I've ever seen. Like, if you boys ever want to watch it, I have it on Google Play Movies. I just have to pull it up.
You know what else I haven't watched in forever is Vash the Stampede.
Trigun, yeah, Trigun's fucking great.
Fucking love him, dude. He's just like such a great character.
Dog, I still want a red overcoat and those stupid
me too.
sunglasses.
I would wear those sunglasses.
Fair enough. I mean, the anime segment of this show keeps getting shorter and shorter every time we do it, because apparently,
Well, I mean, we
guys are all slacking.
can widen the variety because I mean, he started talking about American cartoons. Like, Brian, you been watching any cartoons, brother?
No, I don't watch any shows at all. That's why I let you guys do this segment.
I feel like it doesn't have to be anime, you know what I'm saying?
I could go further into depth about the anime I've been watching. I mean,
I've been watching Futurama again because that's like my comfort show. That's my favorite show of all time.
I love Futurama. I like what they did for Fry and Leela at the end.
Oh, dude, that final episode, both final series finales, like the opera one where Fry loses his hands, and then the one where they break the time device and get lost in time forever.
Oh yeah,
both very good, but very sad.
Futurama will real like make your heart break.
Dude, I've been watching it since I was 4 years old, which is pretty young, but I used to wake up at 6 in the morning and my mom and dad would be getting off third shift and my dad would come in the house, take off his utility belt since he was a corrections officer, put his gun up in the safe and then hang his belt over the chair. And then he'd sit on the couch and watch Futurama with me and then he'd pass out. Then I'd get ready for school.
What a heartwarming story.
That's very
I don't
helpful.
have a father, so, I can't relate.
Okay. Listen.
Why you gotta go there, bro?
Ignoring his daddy issues.
You're gonna talk to me about saying some fuck shit and not in the beginning of the show. You took it from 1 to 100 pretty quickly there, bud.
Okay.
Listen, someone
moving
needs to make
on
this
from
segment
his daddy
interesting, all right?
issues. Okay. I want to talk about the dog.
Oh, we're not gonna talk about Seymour. I don't want to cry right now.
Bro, oh my god, that was so depressing.
It was because Fry found his fucking dog petrified in a dolomite.
And bro, he sat there and waited for years.
He sat there and waited for like 10 years until he got fucking frozen over by like an ice storm or some shit. And I'm like, holy fuck, man. Especially after the whole thing, Fry's like, I don't want to revive him because he lived to this old age. He had a good life without me. Then it's just like, oh no, he didn't have a good life. He waited for you because he was a good dog. And you're like, my heart.
Oh my god, that reminds me of the part where he was able to like talk to his mom in his dream.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they took Fry's parents, his mom and dad, to the cryogenic facility, and he was scratching at the door, and they're just because they did not look up. Anger.
Angie.
My favorite episode when it comes to comedy, though, is the one where they steal Fry's nose, the human horn. Oh, come on, Weiss. Tell me you remember this one.
I do not remember. I think I slightly remember it.
Dude, Lur from Omicron Persei 8
Yeah.
steals Fry's nose as an aphrodisiac to make his marriage with his wife better. It's got the best jokes. Not the best jokes, just the most stupid ones. Like, it has this one where every time they say something in reference to Fry's penis, Bender will pop in and be like, that's what she said! Woo! It's just entertaining. There's also my favorite line from Professor. Fry, what in Sega Genesis did you do to your face?
My favorite thing from the professor is I don't want to live on this planet anymore. I know that makes me sound basic, but
or
there's so many times I'm just like, I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
or what about Zoidberg saying, "Your music is bad and you should feel bad"?
Zoidberg always had the best burns.
All right, that's enough about my absolute oversaturation of love for that animated show.
Fair enough. Is it time we move on to gaming, boys?
Yes.
All right, JB, I know you're excited for this one. Tell us what you've been up to.
You all should definitely go out and buy Resident Evil 8 because it's a goddamn amazing game.
I do not endorse this statement, and it is not a game for me, and I will not be playing it.
I-
But, you know, for our listeners who might actually want to play it, please, go on.
No, play it. Like, I'll come to your house with a fucking play the goddamn game.
You can't. We're still not letting people in, but, you know, go on.
Listen. It's not a suggestion. It's a command.
No.
So, JB, I've got a question.
What's up?
Have you played Resident Evil 7?
I've played all of them. I've played every single one of them up to the release of 8.
Okay, so I heard 7 was pretty, scary at some points, and then I heard that they toned down the scariness in Resident Evil 8, and it feels more like an action game now.
8 definitely took after 4 more so than anything because, I mean, you have multiple guns you can buy and purchase. You can upgrade them individually, and just the overall feeling of the game because you start in one area, end up in another, and you have to fight for saving someone, not necessarily related to you because in 4 you have to save the president's daughter, but in 8 you're trying to save your own daughter.
That's kind of depressing because
there's one part in it that actually does try to be scary. Like,
is it the dollhouse?
The dollhouse is pretty fucked.
I saw the dollhouse. It didn't really faze me that much.
It doesn't faze a lot of people who are watching it, but playing it, like when I was playing it, I don't do well with baby cries and shit like that, just because I have young nephews, and so anytime like I hear a baby crying like that, it's just automatic response. I'm like, oh shit, there's something wrong. I need to go check.
So you're basically a dad.
Well, yeah.
So
Long story.
Two people with daddy issues.
Okay, fair. But yeah, no. You have to examine your wife's. You have to examine this anatomy doll that's dressed exactly up like your wife who got killed at the very beginning of the game, like first cutscene. And while that's happening,
wait, didn't you go through all of 7 to save your wife?
Yeah.
And then they just kill her at the beginning?
Yeah, Chris Redfield pops in and puts a full clip in her face. It's
Wow.
wild.
Just processing this right now.
That just feels like a smack in the face to like 7.
There's a reason for it. Like I'm trying not to spoil a lot since the game came out Friday. Like, we're not within the threshold of being able to talk about spoilers without consequences.
Yeah, fair enough. You know, giving it your spoiler-free review though.
There's a few spoilers here because I mean, like, all the promotional material only showed off Lady D, or Dimitrescu, I think is her name. I'm really bad at pronunciation. But she's like the first quarter of the game. The rest of it, you literally go to different areas and fight different enemies. And yeah, so while you're breaking down this anatomy doll, pulling parts out of her, like, oh, take off her arm and there's a symbol here for a puzzle. They keep playing voice recordings of Mia having the child, which Mia is your wife. And then right after that, you start getting chased by like a 4-foot tall fetus monster that can kill you in one hit. I gotta admit, I screamed like a little bitch. That shit scared me for a second.
Fair enough.
I don't do well with being chased.
Hey man, regular size fetuses scare me, like, already.
I don't like chasing in horror games because it's not as much scary as it is like anxiety inducing.
See, that's the thing for me. Like, it wasn't true fear. It was more like, oh God, I don't want to deal with this. Please don't.
Yeah, it's like I'm not scared. It's invoking other emotions other than being scared. It's like, oh,
Seven,
if he catches me, I'm gonna die no matter what. That's just like anxiety inducing right there. You know.
seven definitely did try to do a little bit more of a general horror feeling with the helplessness and everything.
I thought
Like,
Seven did amazing.
I mean, in Resident Evil 8, I never once had to worry about ammo or anything else since it was designed to be more like 4. So I kind of just faced most problems head on with a shotgun. God, God damn it, Rob.
Well,
And that's how he deals with
there's,
that's how he deals with everything in number 8.
there's
like
our
that.
second guest who's not actually a guest in the background, Robbie. He's just there. You might hear him chime in sometimes. It just be like that.
It's just
Yeah, we sure that's actually awesome.
Yeah, no, sounds good. Weiss, you been playing anything that you want to talk about?
I could talk for days about what I've been playing. I've been playing Path of Exile. And if you guys have ever played Diablo, it's basically like what Diablo 3 should have been, because Diablo 3 came out after this, I believe. And this was like the next best like ARPG after Diablo 2. And then like 3 just went all the wrong ways, and 2 just went all the right ways. Like you got this passive tree that has like 500 nodes on it, and you can only get like 100 points. So like you really gotta pick and choose what you want from your passives, and you can make almost any build, anything viable. Like you want to go full tank and like reflect damage, go for it. You want to do skeletons and let them kill everything for you, because that's what I've done 6 times now. They just summon skeletons and they shoot stuff and say goodbye. You can do whatever you want.
Sounds like a good time. I'm glad you've been enjoying yourself.
I have not been enjoying myself. I constantly die.
Well, you know what? That's enjoyable to some people. So
I lose. Oh yeah, if you die, you lose 10% of your XP.
Oh yeah, Brian.
what up?
I heard you finally beat Xenoblade.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Okay, asterisk. I beat the story. I haven't beat the game.
Fair
Because
enough.
the final boss of the story is only level 80, and there are like super bosses that go up to like level 100 and shit, above level 100, and the level cap's 99. So like, I wanted to make sure that the final boss was still going to be at least somewhat challenging before I start going and doing all this other extra shit. So that's why I finished the story at level 80, so that way there would be some challenge, but now I'm doing a lot of the stuff that's above that level 80 mark, right? So I'm starting to do a lot more of the what you would call endgame content, even though it's not really endgame content because you can't continue your save after you beat the final boss. So you basically save before you go fight the final boss, then you do all of this content, then you can go fight the final boss. If you want to go, then have a new game plus save. So I'm not technically done the game, but I am done with the story of the game. I have played through all of the story of the game. And by God, it has taken me a long ass time. I am 110 hours in.
Good old
It is a
old school
very
RPG.
long game.
I mean, I can't say
Yeah.
anything. I've been streaming Persona 5 to Heidi, as you've probably seen, and holy fuck, that's gonna be a long game.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. I say it's been 110 hours. I've also been doing as much side content as possible because I am trying to 100% the game. If you weren't trying to 100% it, I could see you finishing the game in easily 70 hours if you just blitzed through the story and didn't really give a shit about doing side content, other than, you know, making sure you were at a capable level to beat the main story.
You see,
But, go on.
with Persona games specifically, since they're kind of timed, you have a set amount of things you're going to be able to do within this time period. Of course, you can lengthen them by doing certain events. Like if you have free time, one event will take more time than one other one. But because of that, I just know from playing Persona 5 compared to Royal, which is the one I'm playing for Heidi. In the base Persona 5, I put 115 hours into that. A good 20 of that was just leaving the game idle while I was playing League with you and Chris at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But still, that's a long shit. That's a long game.
I mean, that's the thing with Xenoblade is it doesn't feel like it's that long of a game because the story constantly keeps you intrigued, and it's not the same story all the way through. I don't necessarily want to spoil the game, but like the end goal when you start the game isn't the same end goal at the end of the game. You start the game thinking you're going to go to accomplish this one thing, and by the end of the game, you're doing something completely different, but it all ties into each other. So you start going off on your adventure, and then halfway through the adventure changes to you need to do this, and then 2/3 of the way through the adventure changes again to you now need to do this instead because this is a much bigger, more pressing issue than what you originally had expected when you set out on your adventure in the beginning. And the game starts off thinking you start the game off thinking it's going to be a very generic revenge storyline because that's what you aim for when you're leaving Colony 9 at the start, but it ends up becoming so much more than that by the end of the game. And it is genuinely a really good game, and I do recommend playing it, especially if you can get your hands on the Switch edition, because they pretty much updated the game for 2020. But it was genuinely a lot of fun, and I did enjoy that, and now I'm just finishing out the grindy endgame content. And aside from that, I've also been streaming every single day now for the past week. Mostly World of Warcraft when my raiding guild is raiding, and then when I'm not playing World of Warcraft, I've been playing a lot of Battlefield 1 on stream, so I'm going to link that in the description if anyone wants to come hang out, watch me stream. That's what I've been up to, and eventually, once I actually finish all of Xenoblade Chronicles, I do intend to stream Chrono Trigger, which I know you, JB, and Weiss both are pretty excited to watch me play.
Yeah, I can't wait.
So that'll be on my Twitch stream. And Alljay, if you want to come watch it too, because I know we've been trying to get you to play it, it'll be on my Twitch stream. But yeah, other than that, the other thing I wanted to talk about in the gaming segment, the entire reason I brought you onto the show, Weiss, you ready for this?
Ready.
All right, let's talk about MSI, bud. Something that these two won't give a shit about, but I know me and you, we care about.
Bro, slashing over the Udyr for a crowd.
Oh man, that was a highlight.
Just so you can flash over an Udyr for a crowd.
Can you confirm something for me that I heard from a friend?
What's up?
Didn't Sneaky leave Cloud9?
Yeah,
Yeah, this was like 2 years ago, bro.
Yeah,
Get with the times.
Well, no, wasn't he benched or something this year?
No, he fucking left the team like 2 years ago, bro. Get with the times. He was benched like 3 years ago. Dude, where have you been?
That's what my buddy was talking to me about like 3 days ago. Because I don't follow League like I used to, man. I just don't have it in my heart.
That's why this is me and Weiss's segment and not me and you's segment.
I just wanted to
It's the reason I
confirm.
brought him on as my guest. Yeah, Sneaky hasn't been playing pro for like 2 years now.
Okay, cool. I'm stupid. What's new?
Anyways, so Weiss, you ready for my hot take?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I actually think MSI is a super overrated tournament, and I don't enjoy watching it.
It just
That's my
feels
hot
like
take.
it feels like a minor Worlds. Like,
But that's the thing. With Worlds, you actually get 3 Korean and 3 Chinese teams. With MSI, you get 1 of each. So, like, people think MSI is this great tournament because, oh yeah, only the winners of each region are invited. But it's like, realistically, are Cloud9 and Mad Lions better than the 2nd and 3rd place LPL and LCK teams? Probably not. Like, we literally saw fucking Blabber on Cloud9 flashing over an Udyr and then getting solo killed in the jungle because he wanted a Scuttle Crab.
and then they
Like, you're
pretty much
telling
lost
me-
the game off that.
Right? And they pretty much lost the game off that. And you're telling me that is high-level League of Legends content that you want to be watching, as opposed to watching, the highest-level Korean and Chinese teams play.
It's high
Really?
level. It's high level for a different level. Is all I gotta say.
But like their high level is on like different terms. Like I'd put
Yeah.
Korea top level at like an A rank, and then I'd put our top level at like maybe a high C.
Like, if you tell me you have a competition between the top 10 teams in the world, I guarantee you Cloud9 is not going to be in that top 10. Probably 8 of them, if not 9, are going to be LPL and LCK teams. Maybe you might throw G2 in there if they can figure their shit out. Especially old G2 was definitely in the conversation for top 10 teams in the world. But, like, I don't see it. And we've got a competition right now of 10 teams, yet you've only got one Korean and one Chinese team there. It's like, why would I want to watch this?
And then then, some teams can't even make it, or some players can't make it there.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. I haven't been enjoying watching it, and for the most part, this feels like one of the most one-sided tournaments we've had in a very, very long time. At least previously at MSI, you would have the G2 Super Team show up, and they could make things happen, and they actually did win an MSI. But this time around, it's like you know that it's going to be an RNG Damwon final. The issue is going to be whether or not you think RNG or Damwon are better. I personally lean into I think Damwon is better, and I think they're better suited to this meta. But, like, it doesn't even feel close for the European and NA teams anymore. Whereas at least when we used to have G2 show up to international events, you knew they could challenge the Korean and Chinese teams. And it just makes it so that I really don't want to watch it. Like, I think we've watched, 4 games together, Weiss?
I think so, 3 or 4.
Right? And that's all I really care to watch until the next stage of the tournament, where they're going to do more best of ones against each other, which again, like, I'm going to watch RNG and Damwon play each other because I'm actually interested in how that matchup's going to go, but I don't really give a shit about Cloud9 versus Mad Lions. I don't give a shit about watching the EU team get stomped by the Korean and Chinese teams. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me, and I feel like this tournament is super overhyped for what it actually is. What it actually is just a sideshow tournament that exists to fill out the league schedule for the year, and people think that it's this really epic tournament because it's one of only 2 international events, but honestly, I'd rather watch the Asia Rift rivals that used to happen when you used to get to watch the top Korean and Chinese teams play each other, because realistically, like I mentioned before, aside from missing G2, you are getting the top teams in the world playing against each other. You are getting the highest level of League of Legends from that tournament. And that's more of what I want to see than watching the current MSI tournament where you're watching a bunch of minor regions just get their teeth kicked in by the major regions, and the major regions, unless they're China or Korea, not really being relevant in this tournament.
And that's usually just because certain regions just play a completely different style. I mean, you look at Damwon and then you look at any of our NA teams, they're playing 2 different games.
Well, it's just like, imagine if this tournament, instead of being, 6 minor regions and then the 4 major regions, we would have, SKT and Gen G. We would have FPX and IG along with RNG and Damwon. Think about how much more exciting of a tournament that would be. Then you're talking about 6 of the top teams in the world as opposed to just 2 of the top teams in the world and just going, well, who's going to win? Is it RNG or is it Damwon? Like, realistically, if you watch the LPL playoffs, you can see how close the LPL is between FPX, RNG, IG. Like, these teams are all really close to each other, and if they were all in a tournament with each other, they could seriously upset each other. Like, Damwon is a different story. They are a league above the rest of the LCK, but you could still find exciting matchups between, like, SKT and Gen G. Given everything going right, I think Gen G could even challenge Damwon. They didn't do it in the LCK finals, but that's a different story entirely. But I think, if the best version of Gen G shows up and the worst version of Damwon shows up, there is a real world where Gen G could take down Damwon. Instead, we're denied that, and we only have to wait for the finals of this tournament because everything else is so easy to predict. And nothing really feels like it matters until we get to that final of RNG Damwon. You agree with that, Weiss?
Yeah, I've just been thinking, like, what even is the point of the MSI? Like, it's all everything you just said.
Yeah, it's just to fill out the schedule, because if they didn't do something between the spring and summer splits, then you would have no League of Legends currently. And because Riot is the one who owns the leagues, and they get to do all of this, they want something on at all points in the year, right? It's like, why does All-Star exist? All-Star exists to fill out the time between the end of Worlds and the start of the spring split. Like, there's no point to it. It's kind of the same thing with MSI. I really wish that there would be a better international tournament, so that way we wouldn't only have to look at Worlds and be like, yes, Worlds is what decides which team is the best team in the world. Like, you very rarely ever look at the MSI winner and be like, yep, that team was the best team in the world at that point in time. Whereas you usually do feel that way about the World Championship.
I think that can associate with a lot of pro play and a lot of tournaments because I mean, like a really good example is Twitch Rivals, which has a combination of pro players for a lot of events, but also streamers who might have been in pro play at one point but just have a large following. Like I didn't watch the one for League, but I saw the one a couple years ago for Siege. Or like
Mm-hmm.
T-Pain, the Russian Badger, and a few other people went up against pro players like Pingu and other shit. And I mean, obviously, pro play is going to dominate, but the streamers actually made it enjoyable. Like one of my favorite clips is Badger, the Russian Badger, opening up a window, spawn peeking as Tachanka, which old Tachanka, before he got reworked, you had to set a turret down to use a special ability, and then you just had a automatic turret, and it was really fun. And this man managed to get a fucking 4-piece spawn kill with what was arguably the worst operator at the time, and it was very entertaining. Very, very entertaining.
See, I'm personally not of the opinion that I think that's very entertaining, but I'm also someone who really enjoys watching the highest level of gameplay. Like, I don't particularly like watching personalities play because I get they're going to make the game more exciting, they're going to bring in viewership, but I don't give a shit about that. If I'm not watching the highest level of play, I really don't care. There's a reason why I watch only the LCK at this point because Damwon is the world champions. I think they're still the best team in the world, and seeing how the rest of the league stacks up against them, right? You can make the argument that the LPL is a stronger league as a whole because Damwon is that much more dominant over the rest of the LCK, but frequently the LCK and LPL are on at the same time, so I can't watch both, right? Like, I'm not going to dedicate all of the time to watch all of the LPL games when at the same time there are LCK games that I would want to be watching more. And that's something that I feel is lacking from this tournament is like I don't get to watch the best teams play against each other. There is one best of 5 that's going to occur in this tournament that I am genuinely interested in, and that is the RNG Damwon best of 5. And everything else in this tournament is completely irrelevant to me. I just look at the results and see who won, and I'm like, cool. If there's a unique upset like how Detonation Focus Me beat Cloud9, I might watch that to see how a minor region can beat a major region. And we can see Blabber flashing over a fucking Udyr level 3 and dying for it and being like, okay, that's how they lost this game. They just inted. Rather than...
He was in Italy.
He was in Italy, but it's like I didn't see a minor region just outplaying Cloud9. I saw Blabber inting the entire game, and then they lost because of it. And that's not necessarily as interesting to me as it is watching high-level teams actually play at a high level and seeing what's going to happen.
That also comes down to what the game is, like, because CS:GO, Siege, Call of Duty, stuff like that, even though it is a team that they're playing for, it focuses more on individual performance, whereas with League, you can necessarily have somebody having the worst game they've ever had doing horrible performance, but then their team can kind of carry them forward.
Well, even that's not necessarily something that I care about because I come from an RTS background. The first esports I ever watched was, StarCraft originally. Like, I like watching the game.
Depends.
But that's the thing, right? Like, I like watching the game for the strategic elements of the game. Like, for a long time, China was all about team fighting constantly, and I do think the Chinese players are very, very skilled, but I preferred the Korean way of playing, where you play the slow macro game, because that is more strategic in my mind, and that is more enjoyable to watch. Hell, I'm a fucking baseball fan, and baseball is one of the slowest games that there is, and has the most strategic elements to it other than football, which I don't watch football because we don't have a team here in Toronto, so I don't give a fuck about it because I was never able to watch it as a kid, right? Whereas I was actually able to go to Raptors games and to Leafs games and to Jays games. Like, these are sports I was able to physically watch and built an association with from an early age. But, like, it's a very slow game, and there's a lot of numbers that go into it, and it's a very strategic game, and that's what I like to watch. So you can see how it translates into me liking to watch Korean League of Legends, because it's very much so. They play slow, they make very few mistakes, and they win the game.
You can say as it makes sense now. I grew up in a Southern family that liked NASCAR and football, so no wonder I like violence and fast-paced shit.
But even then, right, like, you could make the argument that football is, and I agree, the most strategic sport that there is, right? Like, the level of strategy that goes into football, it's basically like a fucking RTS game, except it's actually in real life. Right? Like, I do understand
I like
football.
that
I have
distinction,
watched
but let's go
football
with it.
before. But that's the thing, right? Like, you do get where I'm coming from, right?
I hate that
There
I
is
get
a
where you're coming
lot
from.
of strategic elements in football. Because, again, I don't necessarily like it because I didn't grow up watching it, but I have watched the sport. I understand the sport. I know what goes into making that sport tick. And if it was for the fact that I grew up watching it, I probably would be a huge fan of it. But because I didn't, I'm not that big of a fan of it. Anyways, moving forward, though, what was I going to say? Is there anything else you want to talk about MSI, Weiss?
Yeah, actually, I was gonna say, I feel like MSI would be much better if they had replaced it with something where it was like what you were saying, the top teams. So like maybe an MSI where they would have the lesser regions all play against each other, and then you'd also have the higher regions play against each other.
The problem with that is then you force Riot to say which regions are objectively better than other regions, and Riot doesn't want to do that. Right? It's the same reason why we always see fucking Worlds groups be one team from each major region, and then all the other teams get seeded into those groups, and you can't see two teams from the same region play against each other in the same group, right? Like, it's why you always see groups with a Korean and Chinese team, and the Korean and Chinese teams make it out of their group almost every single time. So if you get seeded into that group with the Korean and the Chinese team, you're just fucked. Unless your name is G2, in which case they got out. But, like, you are at so much more of a disadvantage when in reality the Korean and Chinese team that are both in those groups are obviously better than the European and NA teams, and the European and NA teams have zero chance of getting out. But because Riot decides that all regions are created equal, then you end up seeing shit like that. Riot doesn't want to rank their regions. Riot doesn't want to say, yeah, Korea and China are better than EU and NA. And it's really disappointing because we could get a lot better competitions if they would actually take the time and say, hey, yeah, not all of these regions are created equal, and some regions are better than others. Like, another sport that I don't necessarily watch all that much, but I understand a lot of, and I do like watching, is tennis. And in tennis, you'll see higher seeded teams get seeded further into the tournament because nobody wants to watch the world rank 1 player just absolutely fucking beat down the world 160th player. That's not enjoyable for anyone. No one wants to see that. The same way, I don't want to watch RNG play against Unicorns of Love and Pentanet GG over and over again. It's not fun. I don't want to watch Damwon play against Cloud9, Detonation, Focus Me, and Infinity Gaming. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. They're just going to win every single game. And if they lose, it's because the Asian teams really like disrespecting their opponents when they think they're better than their opponents. That's usually the only reason those teams will lose. It's not fun. If we would just accept that they are better than their opponents, we could see, like you said, a tournament where you have lower seeded teams playing against each other, and you'll actually get some exciting storylines, and you'll maybe be able to see a lower ranked team make it into the upper brackets and upset a higher ranked team, but in reality, we just end up seeing these higher seeded teams be placed with these lower seeded teams and just absolutely crush them, and it's not particularly fun.
Well, how about this? A modification of my original suggestion was, don't get me wrong, I understand that there'd be many, many issues, what I'm saying. But how about what if they did like a sort of round robin with all the top team of each region, and then like just after they all play against each other, you see like, oh, NA has lost 6 games this whole round. You're like, you put them down to the 6 losses bracket. You know, LCK, might be at the top of that bracket. All wins against all the other regions. You know what I'm saying?
I get that, and that was also kind of what the Asia Rift Rivals did. So the Asia Rift Rivals, you would place all of the Korean teams and all of the Chinese teams together, and they were actually competing as a unit to see who could win more games, and then they were seeded against each other into a playoff bracket based off of who won more games, right? So it wasn't a competition between Damwon and RNG. It was a competition between Korea and China to see which region was stronger. And that was what made that competition really interesting to me, is because you would see they would pick teams that they thought had good matchups into other teams, where you would hold back your best team for later in the tournament because you would bring out SKT at the time, which was the most dominant team in Korea, to play against the Chinese most dominant team, which was RNG at the time. And you would see, like, hey, we need a guaranteed win. Do we bring out SKT early so we start off with a win early, but then not have anyone to face RNG and know that maybe RNG is just going to win the game? Or do we hold SKT for later in the tournament to play against RNG, where we feel like that's actually a favorable matchup for us, right?
That's actually a whole different level of like planning and strategy, because you could think like, oh, we want to win this many games. Let's not use our best team on their best team. Let's just send in our worst team, so that way we waste their best, you know?
Exactly, and that's why I really enjoyed watching it. The only downside to Rift Rivals is it didn't matter for anything. It didn't matter for world seeding. It didn't matter for championship points. So if you won Asia Rift Rivals, it meant absolutely nothing. So a lot of the teams didn't feel like they had very much to play for. And I feel like there are so many better things they could be doing. And again, like, it just comes down to the fact that we're also seeing best of ones in the group stage. We're seeing best of ones in the Rumble stage. Like, I don't care about watching a best of one between these major regions and these minor regions, or between China and Korea versus EU and NA. I just don't care. I really don't. Maybe if there were best of fives, we could actually see more strategic elements, or best of threes, right? Part of the reason why I enjoy watching the LCK so much is because there are best of threes. The entire league is best of three, so you get to see who is actually the best, right? And it's a lot more about, you know, if someone stomps with something in a best of three in game one, you can ban that in game 2 and 3, right? And you can make strategic adaptations throughout a series that you just can't do in best of ones. In best of ones, it's just kind of you know, you shoot your shit and you see what sticks.
Yeah.
And also, not having double elimination at Worlds is another topic, but I'm sure we'll talk about that as we get closer to Worlds. They need double elimination.
I think it also just comes down to the point that you have to have different tournament structures for whatever you're doing, because I get just throwing shit together, like specifically in fighting games, they just kind of seat people wherever, because they make them go through the full bracket, no matter if you're the top one player or you're just starting out. And at the same time, though, because fighting games are a completely different world, and you can get lucky one day or have a really good mechanic that works against one playstyle but not the other. It just breeds a completely different event, and so it really pays off to actually have events designed around the structure instead of just using what has worked before.
Well,
Or
it's
just
also
trying to
because
come up to work.
It's also because for a long time, the organizers at Riot wanted to make League of Legends like the NFL. So they copied the NFL league and playoff structure, when in reality that doesn't really suit a video game that
Exactly.
well, right? But they're very obsessed with that idea of, we want to be the NFL of esports. And it's like, okay, but it doesn't suit your game.
I mean, good try, but do what works for you, not what works for others.
Right? Like, it doesn't make much sense to me, and I feel like there's so much more they could be doing better.
I mean, it has to be working somewhat. How long has fucking League Pro Play been a fucking world
But
event?
that's the thing, it loses money. Like, almost every major team on the planet is losing money. So it's clearly not working. It's only working for Riot because they're getting all this publicity for their game. Like, the players are sure it's working out for them too, but like the organizations that are running this league are losing money. And that's why you constantly see teams that just throw out good rosters of good players and take in the cheapest possible players, because that's the only way they can make money.
Yep.
The only way they can make this financially viable is if they don't pay for the highest contracts and they just pick up the cheapest possible players, and they go, well, if we're 10th, we're 10th. We're still in the league and we're going to get our advertising money because our advertisers are paying us regardless of whether or not we're 10th or we're first.
Yep.
Right? And it's something that came up in World of Warcraft, actually. The Mythic Dungeon tournament that they had, there's been so many complaints that players are putting in so much time to compete in this tournament, and the rewards are very much so not worth their time. And they're also competing in a way that isn't relevant to players who play the live games. They're competing in a time trial in keys that are lower than what they would be doing if they were playing live. And a lot of the community just stopped watching the tournament because it's not relevant. Like, why do I want to watch these players do something that I'm never going to do in my own gameplay? It doesn't make sense. It's not reflective of what I'm doing. It's not reflective of how I play the game. And to an extent, League of Legends Pro Play has this too, where because there's no built-in voice comms in the game, you are watching a completely different game than what you are playing when you queue up for solo queue. Am I right, Alljay? You're the solo queue expert here. Tell us about your experience. Unironically, you play more solo queue than the rest of us.
Yeah, no, I do play more solo queue. It's fucking awful.
Right? But, like, imagine if you had voice comms and you can actually, like, yell at your top laner, hey, stop inting, I'm playing Jinx, we win this game if it goes 30 minutes.
I swear to God,
yeah.
Voice chat is a lifesaver. Like, fuck the people who say voice chat is not needed, because it is the best feeling in the world if you're playing a match of Siege and somebody is being completely autistic and just going off the rails, and you just be like, hey, fucking stop doing that, and then you win the game. It is the best feeling.
That's weird that they haven't added that yet to, like, just, like, solo queue, not just, like, you know, like, voice chat in your own party kind of thing. I thought that was weird, because it's like, okay, so I'm carrying this game right now on solo queue, and then we have, like, you know, some, I don't want to say something bad. We got some guy at top lane doing very poorly, right? And
yeah, he's just running it down.
You can't do anything about it. It doesn't matter if you're 30-0 or whatever, which has happened to me, by the way. It doesn't matter. You're gonna lose the game.
I mean, their main argument against it is, well, we don't want to bring more toxicity into the game because their game already has a reputation for a lot of toxicity. But it's like, okay, but how many times have you played a game on voice chat with other people where they're genuinely really toxic human beings as opposed to a game with only text chat? Because odds are, if you can actually hear someone talking, you're not going to go and spout a bunch of fucking racist and, you know, homophobic slurs at them because you can actually hear them talking.
Like that, though.
Okay, but COD lobbies are filled with 12-year-olds, Alljay. We're talking about real games here.
Listen. Call of Duty was a special case because we were all dumb 12-year-olds at one point.
I don't know. What's stopping people from saying, like, I agree with you, like, it makes sense, but, like, what's stopping people from being toxic on voice chat if they can be toxic on chat, you know?
But that's the thing.
It doesn't stop people.
Right?
It's just people will
do it less because there's a more human connection. When I'm just reading text on the screen, it's just text on the screen. When I'm actually hearing another person talking to me, it's a lot harder to flame the shit out of that person because you know that's a real person. You can hear them.
Even in stuff like Siege and Call of Duty, there's a text chat and a voice chat, and you will forever see so much more toxic shit in a text chat over someone yelling it.
Yeah, because it's so much easier to just be a name on a screen and say whatever the fuck you want, and then you leave that lobby and you're gone, right? As opposed to you as a human being having a conversation with another human being and being a genuine piece of shit to them. Like, there's a reason you don't just walk down the street and hear people calling you the most awful shit. It's because it's really hard to do that. It's really hard to speak to another human being.
I mean, people don't want to get punched in the face in real life, but this is still virtual, right? Everything's...
Yeah, but again, right? It's also about the human connection.
Flashbacks to high school whenever good old Robbie, convinced his whole class at Prosser that my name was Fat Ass because he called me that. So I had a group of people who unironically called me Fat Ass because that's all they knew me as. I dealt with that for 2 years. 2 years. I'd be walking down the hallway with my headphones on. I'd pull one to the side because I thought I'd hear something. They're like, hey, that's Fat Ass. That's Robbie's friend.
That's awful.
Nice.
And I'm just...
To be fair, we were pretty awful, too, about giving Everil nicknames that he hated, so we can't talk.
I mean, honestly, we weren't as awful to Everil as you were to Norberto.
Listen.
Wait, what's this story?
We're not talking about this on podcast. This is not safe for the podcast, all right?
We're staying on
We're
after the
axing
podcast
that.
is over and we're listening to it.
Right? We're axing that. We'll talk about that later when we're not recording. That is not a safe for podcast discussion.
We'll discuss it
But-
when we're not cancelable.
Anyways,
Once we can
moving
pick it up
swiftly
and we
forward.
can't be canceled, we'll talk about it. That's
Moving swiftly forward.
that's the incentive for the viewer.
Yeah, I feel like this is a good discussion about League of Legends. I feel like, we all got to say something relevant to the conversation. So,
Join our
let's
Patreon.
wrap
You'll
up.
get the NSFW podcasts.
Join Weese's OnlyFans. Weese, link your OnlyFans for him.
Yeah, I got you guys. It'll be up and running here shortly.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, we're going to include your OnlyFans in the description so they know where to follow you.
I
Not your Twitter, not your Instagram, not your Facebook, your OnlyFans. That's your only
I
social
want to
media.
make a Subpar Mechanics OnlyFans, but it's only gonna be like suitable for work posts. Like it's just gonna be like us all giving the thumbs up or some shit like that.
Oh my god.
I gave my buddy a high five today. Best day of this week.
Exactly.
Oh my god. You guys are
You
great.
buy the private
Anyways.
video and it's just you and your buddy doing like the homie shake.
Yeah, just shaking each other's hands.
Like you do the fist bump thing.
You
Yeah.
put a sword fighting one up, but it's you guys actually sword fighting.
Actual sword fighting. Like
Oh,
Yeah, actual
speaking of
sword fighting, like
swords,
fencing.
my girlfriend got me a set of swords. It's pretty neat.
Nice. That's
listen,
awesome,
me
dude.
and my buddy, he used to have some PVC pipes, and then he had like some like kind of foam or something wrapped around them, and we would hit the fuck out of each other with those.
Nice.
Nice.
I
Alljay, we got to make a potato cannon when lockdown's over and just shoot some potatoes.
as I'm over here, I just bought a 410 shotgun for target practice and target shooting because it's fun.
Nice. But yeah, anything else we want to talk about on gaming before we bring the gaming segment to a close? Because I do have something to bring up about sword fighting, unironically. Anything else? Anyone?
But that depends
No.
on which sword fighting you're talking about here, brother.
Well, we'll get into that. So
Oh.
Alljay and I talked about this last week, actually. But did you guys hear about the Obi-Wan Kenobi show that's coming to Disney Plus?
No.
I've not cared about anything Star Wars related since Episode 8.
All right,
Wow.
so
I'm
That
gonna
was
be
episode
to
real.
give you guys a preface, they announced that they're introducing to Disney Plus an Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and they actually cast Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Hayden Christensen's coming back as Darth Vader / Anakin, and it's going to take place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith.
So I'm actually gonna care about this one.
Right? And now, how this ties into sword fighting, there's actually been reports coming out that Ewan McGregor has been practicing sword fighting for the show. So there's going to be some lightsaber duels in
I
the
mean,
show.
you just
And I
said
am
Ewan-
so hyped.
You just said Ewan McGregor, and I just kind of popped the stiffy. Like that man's like
You're like,
beautiful.
wait, he's coming back?
Yeah.
Right? You weren't interested at all, and then you heard Ewan McGregor, and you're like, so I'm interested.
I'll
Now
take
you
your,
have my attention.
I'll take
Now
your
you've got
my
entire
attention.
stock.
Right? No, I am actually so hyped for that.
Shut up and take
And
my
like I
money.
said, it takes place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, so you wouldn't expect there was going to be like any lightsaber duels, right? Because this is when Obi-Wan's on his exile in Tatooine raising Luke. But no, there's going to be some lightsaber duels, and he's practicing for his own stunts, and I am so many levels of hype for that show.
Oh, dude, it always makes me happy whenever people actually practice their own stunts. Like one that kind of impressed me was Henry Cavill with the Witcher series.
Yeah.
Like that man was so dedicated to wanting to play a good character. He read all the books and played all the video games while filming the first season and practicing sword fighting. And I'm like, that's genuinely impressive.
Yeah, I mean, some people are like that. But yeah, I wanted to bring that show up because I wasn't sure if you guys had heard about it, but I know I was talking with Alljay about it last week, and we're super hyped for it, right, Alljay?
We. That's French for
See,
yes.
it almost sounds like you're saying we is like trying to make it ironic. Like, yeah, we're excited. We. Yep. Not just Brian. Definitely both of us.
But yeah. I don't
Hey,
know
man.
that there's an exact date, but I know it's coming out in 2022.
Yep. And I am excited. I can't wait to watch Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen because, they're my childhood. man.
Actually, speaking of this, I'm excited because I think it's coming in the next couple months. They're doing a Resident Evil animated series on Netflix that's supposed to be set between like the events of 2 and 4.
I think
And
I
I-
heard about that, actually.
I'm really happy for it because it actually has Capcom funding behind it.
That sounds great. I would watch
Yeah.
it. Watch it with me, baby.
I'll watch it as soon as it comes out. I'll stream it to whoever.
I'll watch it with you, my dude.
Because it's gonna be a good show. I feel like just because I actually have high hopes for Netflix originals after Castlevania because that one
Castlevania was amazing.
that kind of blew it out of the water for me because I didn't expect a relatively small production for what TV shows and movies cost nowadays to be that much effort put into it and to turn out that well.
Yeah, it was done wonderful. Like I kind of want to go rewatch it. Actually, you want to watch it with me?
Yeah, don't get me wrong, like I love it when they do shit like that. Like I hate the fact that we no longer have like any like we have AAA games and then we have indie games, but we don't have that mid tier of shit that's like $40 and it's not the best, but it's still a good time type gaming.
Yeah, you just gotta run through all the indie games to find stuff like that.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
And it which isn't a problem, but I just kind of hate how they don't really succeed in this market anymore, whether because people critically pan it for stupid reasons. Like, I really, really hate games journalists sometimes.
Oh yeah, me too.
Like, there's this
But
one that came out. Go ahead, Weiss. My bad.
I was gonna say, but at the same time, you got places like the Steam store, PlayStation Network. They take so much of your profits for you being on their store that it's just like those indie games can't profit as much.
I mean, that's just a sad fact of it because almost every marketplace has some sort of cut-in Apple Store, Google Store. Every one of them has
But they
ranging
take
anywhere.
so much. They take like 30%.
Yeah, most of them range anywhere from 20 to 30%, no matter what. That's every main marketplace. It sucks, but that's just kind of what it is. And
But if you only took like 10%, like you'd probably get so much more stuff, so much better stuff, because
that's
they have more profits to make more things.
that's the theory of how it would work, and that's how Epic wanted to do their stuff. But then because they tried so hard to get it off the ground, what with the exclusives and other shit, they alienated so much of their fan base and a lot of their goodwill.
Exclusives never go well.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just it's one of those things where you can do it. It's just hard to achieve. But there was a game a couple years ago, like a Terminator game, that was like a solid C plus B minus level game because it was basically just Fallout, linear Fallout in the Terminator universe. But there was genuine effort put behind it, and it had kind of its own fun. Not to mention the ending of the game didn't even try to sequel bait. They're just like, "Oh yeah, you stopped Skynet. Have good job." So it actually did the Terminator universe a little bit of justice, even though it's kind of like a mid-tier game. It was a fun time to play through. I enjoyed it actually. I really liked the really wonky sex scenes that came out of nowhere because, yeah, dude.
Love sex games, am I right?
Oh, I love it because it was so forced in there. Like your commanding officer's like, "Hey, Private Jacobs, you got to do this," and he's like, "But what if we do it this way?" And then she's like, "Shut up, Jacobs," and then sex scene.
This is your job. Do it.
He also says
Alright.
dismissed once it ends, and it made me giggle.
It's like job well done.
Alright, then. Well,
Did they high
that
five?
was-
No.
That's a serious question, by the way.
Did they
He's
high
genuinely
five?
asking.
I mean, I wish I could have had the option to high five her. Like, why the fuck wouldn't I? Like, good job, soldier. Bop.
I would have fist bumped.
That's also a good one.
Yeah, you're gonna be COVID safe. Fist bump.
No, COVID safe would be the elbow touch.
I mean, that gets too close, though. Like, you full fist bump from all the way away. Like, Alljay can confirm. I saw him last week. We fist bumped on the way out. We're COVID safe. I know we're breaking lockdown restrictions because I went to see him anyways, but you know what? We're COVID safe while we did it. While we were breaking the law, we're at least remaining safe.
I thought we did
And
it.
that's all that matters.
Listen. We don't endorse breaking the laws, but that doesn't mean we haven't done it once or twice.
I mean, technically speaking, all the media I used to pirate and how many times I speed, like, I don't.
Well,
I don't do that shit anymore. I'm not a dumb 15-year-old kid. Come on.
Keyword used to.
well, you know what? Respectable. But moving on to an actually respectable topic, and something again related to me and Alljay hanging out. Something I brought up with him. Did you guys hear about the Captain America 4 movie that was
What?
announced?
No.
Yeah. They announced a new Captain America movie at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There's going to be a new Cap movie. And I am super fucking hyped for that. I know Alljay's pretty hyped for it too, right, Alljay?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I've lost all interest in Marvel movies right now after Endgame.
Yeah, I can wait on them after Endgame. Tony Stark was my favorite. Like, I just love Robert Downey Jr. Like,
Do you feel like you've lost interest because he's gone, and it's like, oh, okay, there's no more Iron Man stuff coming out?
actually, yeah, because my main interest in watching it all was, hey, there's more Iron Man in these movies. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna go watch it. Like all the Avengers movies, I didn't really care. I'm like, it's all right. I like Thor a bit. Well, I like Loki, but
Oh, but you don't like Chris Hemsworth playing Thor?
no, I do, but Loki just hit the ball out of the park.
Speaking of, I don't know if you've been paying attention to like the Disney Plus shows. He has his own series coming.
Yeah, actually, I heard about that. I really want to watch it.
I stopped caring about superhero movies after Endgame because I'm just kind of tired of them personally. But like, I still enjoy them. Like, if there's a new Spider-Man movie, I'm probably gonna go see it because I fucking love Spider-Man.
I'd like to see the Spider-Man multiverse.
Oh yeah, Into the Spider-Verse. The second one I think is supposed to come out next year.
Yeah, with the Doctor Strange film, where I guess they're gonna feature like the multiverse and stuff. It's pretty. I'm looking forward to that.
I'm always down for stuff with Spider-Man for some reason. Like I love that character.
Same topic, but different movie. You guys have seen Ready Player One, right?
I'd never seen it actually.
Really, it's amazing. You should watch it.
I think I've seen that.
I need to.
Actually.
We have a huge problem of not wanting to watch movies unless I have someone to watch it with me.
Watch it with you again. I've watched it like 5 times. I'll watch it again.
I mean, I watched Mortal Kombat I watched Mortal Kombat 3 days within its release, 3 times within its release because I watched it with people on Discord. We all watched it separately, and then Robbie came over and I watched it with him.
Some movies are just good enough to rewatch.
I was very surprised with it.
But not specifically Ready Player One. There's this other movie that I saw advertised, and I haven't seen it in a long time, where it was kind of the same vein as Ready Player One, but it took the story of one of the NPCs being tired of being an NPC. It goes off to go do his own thing, and he's like, hey, I'm an NPC, I can't die. Hey, I'm an NPC, I can do all these other things.
Isn't that the Ryan Gosling movie?
Yeah, I believe it is.
What's it called?
I don't know what it's called. JB,
well, that's helpful for us.
Hey, at least you know about it.
At least you know it exists. Well, while JB's looking it up, the main reason I wanted to bring up the Captain America movie is because I'm really excited to see Sam take on the role of Captain America. And I wonder if they're going to finally bring it close to Steve Rogers in that movie. Because, like, he still exists in the Marvel universe right now. Sure, he's just an old man, but he's still there.
No.
You know? Like, he didn't
I don't
die.
think I will.
Right? Like, he didn't die. He's still there. So I want to see if they, like, bring him to a close in that movie and fully pass on the title of Captain America to Sam now that he's entering that role after Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I mean, he's officially...
Yeah.
I'm kind
of officially
surprised.
Captain America now.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't take the route of the original comics and give the title to Bucky.
Kinda, but also you get why they gave it to Sam, because in the cinematic universe, he's more of the spiritual successor to Captain America than Bucky is.
Oh, yeah, because Bucky is portrayed as an anti-hero a lot of times still.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And, like, that's what made their dynamic in the cinematic universe so good, is because you have the pure good guy in Captain America and the morally gray anti-hero in the Winter Soldier. and it made them really good. Whereas now you need someone to carry on the Captain America moniker, and the only person in the universe who's really capable of doing that is Sam Wilson, right? Like, he's the only one who you could be like, yeah, he would fit as Captain America. He has all of the traits that if Steve was to pass the shield on to someone, it would be him.
And that's one of the reasons I like some of the other stuff is like, look at Batman and how many sidekicks he's had. He's had like 5 different Robins, and each Robin has been completely different. Because then you had Red Hood or Jason Todd, you had Tim Drake as Nightwing, Damian Wayne, his own kid was Robin, or I think is Robin right now, and each one of them is completely different. And how they evolve after they're done being Robin has been so interesting. Like, Red Hood is my fucking favorite because he just adopts this moniker after getting completely destroyed by Joker.
The Joker, yeah.
He takes on this whole persona of like, there's no such thing as forgivance, and he just starts murdering people. It's awesome because it's just really cool. Whereas he still has the Batman inside of him where he's like, I shouldn't kill people, that's bad.
I was gonna say, I actually know like almost nothing about DC because I'm like, Francisco is the main source of all of my information, and he's a huge Marvel fan. Like, I've been
DC's
to this
not as
man's house.
interesting in a lot of
He's
ways.
got like a bunch of Marvel action figures all over the place. He claims they're his nephews, but I'm like, sure they are, bud. Sure you don't collect toys as a grown man. I believe it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But yeah, so he's a huge Marvel fan, and he's not as much into DC. So I ended up getting a lot of my Marvel information over the years just from him, right? Like, we'll go to watch a new movie that comes out because he always wants to go watch them. And before the movie starts, he'll always be giving us, like, the rundown of what's going to happen in the movie based off of what happened in the comics and, like, characters he hopes from the comics make it into the movies. So I do have this borderline understanding, but comics also aren't really my thing. So that's quite literally where I get all of my information from. And like I said, he's not as big into DC, so he won't do that as much when we go see a DC movie as opposed to when we'll go see a Marvel movie, and I'll literally learn like everything about a character from the comics before I've even seen the movie. I'm like, thanks, Francisco. Appreciate that backstory, bud. Really adds to the experience.
I mean, that's just a byproduct of it. Like, DC and Marvel have been rivals for a long time, but depending on the era, one will overtake the other by a landslide. Like, when DC first rebooted into the New 52 universe, fucking banger after banger of comic book series. But now they've kind of hit this stride where it's just nowhere near as interesting. But then again, comics on a whole are on a downturn. What with the New Warriors, the fucking
We don't talk about that.
I think it was Diamond. One of the big comic book distributors just randomly closed down, and a lot of mom and pops, brick and stone, fucking comic shops were just killed last year.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, a lot of things were just killed last year with the pandemic, but
Yeah, that's
kinda
that's
how it
another
is.
one. It's just this one was a specific big one because I mean comics have been a dying medium for a while, even though I love them, but there's no good way to do digital comics still, and they're just now
I
getting
mean,
to that point.
You could say the same thing about movies, though. Like, movies in cinemas have been a dying medium for a very long time. There's been a lot of predictions that the pandemic is just going to be what pushes it over. Like, going 2 years now, because let's be real, we won't be going to watch any movies till the end of the year, at least here, anyways, in theaters. Like, that's a huge thing for an industry that was already on the decline and operating on very thin margins.
Movie theaters still have a special place depending on how they do it. Like a lot of our local theaters in where I live, since everything's opened back up, have now instituted things where it's like, oh, pay this much and you can rent out a theater with you and your friends and watch whatever. And that's becoming a lot more prevalent, which just adding another business model on to stay open. And I'm all down for it because, fuck, could you imagine getting like 16 of your good peeps together going and watching like a marathon of your favorite movies for a couple hours?
I mean, that's already been a thing here.
Oh,
Like, certain cineplexes here have had that for a very, very long time,
It's-
as long as I can remember.
it's been around forever, but I'm saying a lot more theaters are doing it now to stay open, and I'm pretty happy about it
Yeah.
because that's really cool thing that you can do a lot easier now.
Speaking of going and seeing movies with your friends,
Who has friends, dude? What are those?
I
Can
would
you
imagine
explain?
you guys are my friends. I mean, imaginary or not.
Yeah, this is all just a figment of your imagination. We're not actually recording a podcast right now. You're just imagining all of this.
We're
And
just
then
we're each a
tomorrow there's
schizophrenic
gonna be a
personality.
full podcast out. I'm just gonna be like, it was real, motherfucker.
Good thing it's not coming out tomorrow then.
Well, we won't know that if you're imaginary.
Anyways, go
Comes
on.
out on Friday, you dingus.
So, I remember a couple years ago, me and like 4 of my friends, we all went to this major city. It was Cleveland, I believe. And we went there so we could watch an in-theater screening of the anime Ruby, volumes 1 through 3. Like, all in a row. So, like, the 4 of us all went and watched it. All 3 volumes. Fuck whatever both of you are doing. Audio only, by the way.
We're letting you talk, dude. What do you mean? You're having a monologue.
Bit me.
I've seen some things.
We're having a monologue. You're talking about stuff. We're not doing anything.
You guys see the dead body on camera that's known as Robbie?
Audio only podcast, by the way. You just fucking ruined it, JB.
I don't care.
I was trying to make a meme and you just killed it.
Robbie's dead to the world back there.
He must have had a really bad game of Smash.
Yeah, he lost his first game and he was just done. He gave up.
I mean, he was playing.
He didn't just kill his stock of lives, he killed his stock of soul.
Anyways, anything else you guys wanted to talk about as we're coming to the closing ends of the show?
I mean, I don't have much to talk about right now because I've just been a shut-in that beat Resident Evil 8 in like 2 days because I'm addicted to certain things.
Hey, did you
Paper Mario was one
a
of
little
those.
bit?
Wait, what?
Could you like spin to the right a little bit?
Audio only podcast, by the way.
No, the other way.
Oh my god. Guys, audio only podcast.
Yeah.
At least talk about something while you're doing this. Holy fuck.
Okay, sorry for everyone that's listening. I just had to see Robbie's ass.
It's dummy thick. To
Hey,
use an
Robbie-
adjective.
Robbie be doing that leg day every week. He be hitting the squats hard.
So you guys can imagine
Well-
like, how much I wanted to see
That
it.
man is a state champion wrestler.
That man has an
That's a-
ass sculpted by the gods.
Man, just talking about that makes me miss going to the gym, Alljay. That's our
Right.
segue into that. I know I already told you about it, but, you know, just because being stuck at home sucks, I've decided to just start taking, like, a half-hour walk every single day
Oh, it
Just,
helps
you
so
know,
much. It helps
to get
so
out of the
much.
house and do some physical activity, because otherwise I am sitting at home doing nothing all day.
So
That's
are
why.
the gyms open in the States?
That's a question at you guys, not me.
Yeah, I was just about to say, yeah, we do have gyms open. Like we have like
Gyms have been open for a minute here.
I think they limited their occupancy.
What
but,
about-
Alljay's just sitting here like, fuck, man, guess I'm moving, huh?
What?
Yeah, like,
Guess I'm moving. Oh, yo,
I'm kinda-
kick Robbie out. That's gonna be me laying on your bed for a
I'm
few
6 minutes
weeks.
up the road and be in a gym.
I'm kind of lucky though because Robbie has bought all of his gym equipment and he has almost a full working gym in his house.
Alljay's even more impressed now. He's like, damn, kick Robbie out. I'm coming. I'm on my way. Booking the next flight in.
Like it just
But-
keeps getting better for him. Everything he
But-
hears.
No, I mean, mainly why me and Robbie hang out every Monday is because of all the shit that went down. Like, I live in the middle of nowhere, so we could like just go out and walk and do shit. Like we've been going to a local park that's like maybe 5 miles away, and we just sit out there, eat some sandwiches, and take walks around, and it helps so much
That
just
sounds
to
so
be able to do
great.
something.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just about getting some physical activity in, because just I'm not doing anything if I'm not. Like, it's nice to just get out, go for a walk, you know, stretch out a little
Yeah.
bit.
It is really
And
nice.
I can't
to
wait.
get in nature.
Yeah. And I also
Yeah,
can't
getting
wait till
some
the gym's
air.
open. It's going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
great.
You also-
Dude, and I also can't wait for the podcast part 2. We're going to be able to talk about, like, our experience going back to the gym after not going for months. And, like, help people out, you know. If you're thinking about going to the gym, here's our experience.
you guys like the dog cam over there too?
Audio only podcast, by the way. Oh my god, you guys,
It's all
you're
good.
doing even worse about this than even before. Like,
I'm doing it on
I can't
purpose
believe
at this
it.
point just to.
I
annoy
know,
you.
and it's making me angry.
That's
Because
the
no
whole
one's
point of
gonna
it.
see this shit. Like, do it for fucking episode 4, asshole.
I'm going
episode
to. I'm
4
gonna
that
get-
we've already promised is video.
I'm gonna get every one of my dogs in here and make sure they're sitting on camera for at least 2 minutes.
Perfect. Dog cam. That's what we need. That'll be the thumbnail for it too. This is a dog-only podcast now. We just talk about dogs for an hour and a half.
You know,
Alljay doesn't have a dog, but he's talking about dogs.
Alljay, it's time for you to get a dog, dude.
I don't think there's space in his apartment for a dog and a cat. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I mean, he has a bunch of wall space. You can use that.
Just tape it to the wall. It'll be fine. It'll buff out.
Yeah, just like make a little like doggy ramp up to like the ceiling where his bed is.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, Chief. I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be 3 in the morning, and all of a sudden you hear kook.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
The
Boys.
dog's gonna be perfectly fine on the ceiling. You can just be like, okay, so what was that sound?
So your dog can just walk on the ceiling now? Amazing. Like, what technology are you using?
Spider Pig?
It's magical, dude.
Spider Pig does whatever Spider Pig does.
I'm glad someone finished that reference for me. I was gonna be very sad if no one did.
Hey, it's a callback to what we talked about earlier, Spooder Man.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I was like, oh yeah, Spider Pig.
That's why I brought it up. If we didn't talk about Spider-Man earlier, I might not have even thought about it. But because we did, it was fresh in my
That's
mind.
because you're afraid to take risks, Brian.
No, that's just because I'm smart and don't reference things our listeners can't see, unlike someone.
All right, now you're just attacking me personally? God damn.
Yeah, but you're the asshole here, and I'm the nice guy, so it's okay.
Oh,
The viewers are going to be like, man, I loved it when Brian told Jacob to shut the fuck up. We hate Jacob on this podcast. I'll be like, yup, I'm the nice guy. JB's the asshole.
if
The
that
viewers,
actually
the listeners
happens-
love it.
If that actually happens, I don't know, man. I guess I'll have to go, like, eat my shorts or some shit like Bart Simpson would say.
Like this
To be fair,
podcast, if you want JB to eat his shorts.
Yeah, like this video if you want JB to eat his shorts and you agree that he should shut the fuck up.
It'll be the
That's-
first thing you
that's the
see on
statement.
episode 4. It'll be the first thing for the video.
Episode 4, JB's eating his shorts. Just
With my dogs in
Yup.
the background.
One like and he'll do it.
one like, there you go. That's not hard to beat.
Please no. I don't want to buy new clothing. It's expensive.
To be fair, we're at the end of the podcast, and statistically, no one listens to this segment anyways, so you're good.
You're gonna say that, and we're gonna get like fucking like at least 5 comments of people like, "What the fuck, bro? You listened to the end."
We're not going to get any comments saying that, because I made this same joke last time about how the last 30 minutes of the podcast were the best part, and no one commented about that either. Pretty sure no one actually listens to the end of the podcast. They listen to the first 5 minutes, and then, they're like, oh, these guys don't actually watch anime, but have an anime segment, so I'm not going to listen to this. And I'm like, well, thanks, co-hosts. You're really carrying this
We should
podcast for
rebrand
us.
that because no, you're right. Like we watch anime, but like we don't watch it as much as we, make it out to be.
Well, it just depends on the time of year. Like once we get back to colder months and I don't feel like leaving my house, I'm probably gonna binge watch the shit out of that.
True. No, I get like that too. Because
Like-
right now I'm on my off phase,
Like I'm a fan of a lot
Off-season.
of things, but there's only limited time each day, and I've been
Exactly.
like binging so many other things.
Wees,
Hi.
can I just start a podcast with you instead of these two idiots?
Hell yeah, dude, that's what I've been waiting for. I got it all
Just
set
cancel
up.
this podcast on episode 2, start a new one, me and you.
Little
At
did
least
you
you
know,
won't
I've
make
been
audio
recording
only.
this, and I've just been cutting JB and Alljay out of it.
I got fucked, idiots.
Joke's on you. I'm already building the beta podcast crew. I don't need you guys. I'll go solo.
Yeah, no, like, Weiss doesn't even have a camera. He can't even make the audio-only jokes, unlike someone.
Me and Brian, we're gonna make the Par Mechanics podcast.
The par mechanic. Oh, I love it.
We
Dude, I love it.
we get like Francisco or Robbie or someone to dress up and look like Brian and continue the podcast on.
Yeah, good luck with that. They'll show up once every year for it.
Dressed up like Brian, we'll call it Great Value Brian.
Dude, who's gonna be the Superb Mechanics podcast though? That's the real question. Who's gonna take the throne for that one?
Police.
Oh God, I don't know if that guy wants to do a podcast considering he doesn't talk.
Yeah. He used to.
He did. He did. Long live the days of Talise talking.
Long live the days of Yonder. Those forgotten times.
Back before this all started.
I was back
before I thought doing a podcast with you idiots was a good idea.
I was back before a lot of things. We've dealt with a lot of internet bullshit since then.
Like thinking a podcast with you guys about anime is a good idea when you guys don't watch anime.
Well, dude, you don't even watch anime. Eat my entire ass.
I know, that's why I left it up to you guys to carry that segment, but 2 weeks in a row now, yeah, we haven't watched anything, and I'm like...
I've talked about anime. I've been watching anime. Eat my booty hole.
Yo, I came up in here all ready to talk about anime. Like, I go on for hours about that anime, so I mentioned.
I was talking about Seraph of the End. I was trying not to spoil shit. It's a good anime. It relies on those It relies on those plot twists.
It's okay. I'm not upset. You're upset.
I am upset. Because I'm being called an asshole.
Well, guess what? You're going to eat your shorts, too, if we get 5 likes on this video. Which we're not going to get, so...
I mean, we got 4 of us here, so... We only need
you think he's
going
to like it to eat his own shorts? No. He's not going to do that. He's not crazy.
It's the big brain play I actually want to.
He's like, yeah, I've been waiting to cook these shorts.
Now I won't get judged for it because I'm being forced to do it.
He's like, shit, man, that'd make some good content.
He's gonna make them all good and look really nice, and he's just gonna eat things.
JB's out here sacrificing.
I can't believe I have to eat my shorts, and he just takes 2 more bites. He's like, oh no.
Dude, he's sacrificing for the content. He's like, I always knew this would go viral. No one has ever eaten their shorts before. Now I have an excuse to do it.
Do it for the Vine.
Oh God.
Oh, the Vine.
Remember when that was a thing?
You don't like Vines.
I miss Vine. It was better than TikTok.
I was just going to say, I would take Vines over TikTok any day. Listen.
I hope you guys realize you're talking to an avid TikTok user here, and Alljay, he's judging you.
I don't care, actually. I have TikTok just because it's just there.
Because,
I do prefer the 6-second videos because they're just 6 seconds, you know? Like, TikTok came out with 3 minutes now. It used to be just a minute. I'm like, okay, I don't care for this. I haven't really used it all that much, like, these days. But it's still there.
There's a huge reason
I thought I deleted TikTok off my phone, but it's still on my phone. It's not signed in or anything, but I still have TikTok on my phone, and I thought I deleted that shit.
Never even installed it, because I'm not 14 years old.
I checked it out for 2 days whenever it first popped up on my radar, and my instant deduction was, wow, I'm not using this fucking app.
Damn. Alljay's feeling personally attacked right now.
No, not really. I don't really give a shit if you guys use TikTok. I fucking enjoy it. I'm having a field day, so you guys are missing out.
Dude, I'll admit, there's some good, stupid shit on there that's enjoyable to watch, but...
Yeah. I mean, there are some funny shit on there, so I'm like, okay.
Legitimately, though, you can get the same shit if you go to Instagram and go to their stories, because half of the Instagram stories are people ripping their shit off TikTok and throwing it up on Instagram.
You could, but that's not the type of shit I follow on Instagram. I follow, like, pretty much people I know. I don't really, like... And plus, like, TikTok is mostly just, like, random shit. So it's oh, cool, some new random shit I can know about.
I've been following Instagram meme accounts for years, though, because of the original iFunny integration with Instagram back in, like, 2015.
I don't use any social media because I'm insane, apparently.
No, you're probably the least insane person here because social media is fucking awful.
Yeah.
I mean...
Like, I haven't been active, like posting shit or anything like that, but, like, I'll share shit, like, once in a... But, like, that's pretty much it.
Yep, that's why we're going to link our social media in the description this time. And it's literally going to be me just linking my Twitch. JB's going to be linking Weese's OnlyFans for some reason. Not any of his own social media. It's just going to be JB's links, Weese's OnlyFans. Weese's links, also Weese's OnlyFans.
That's all you need to know about JB.
Yeah, dude, I don't want people following my social media.
Exactly, that's why you link Weese's OnlyFans. It's like, yep, you can find me here. You can
I
find a
opt
picture of
into
me
that
giving him a high
option also?
five.
I'm just afraid.
Yeah, Alljay's also Weese's OnlyFans.
I'm just
It's literally
afraid.
just my Twitch and then Weese's OnlyFans 3 times.
It's a fear. It's paranoia because I'm gonna post like one stupid meme one day and everybody's gonna be like, "Wow, that's so shit. I hate your podcast now."
No. You're gonna post something and then get us canceled because that's the meme. Because you're the asshole.
You're gonna get all of us canceled off of the stream.
My Instagram is nothing but shitty memes because I'm like, "Oh, this is funny. I hope other people laugh at it."
You're gonna get me canceled, and I'm not even a main member.
Yeah, you're gonna get him canceled. They're just gonna come back to this episode and be like, "Fuck that guy in particular."
That guy had an OnlyFans, and he didn't follow up with the promises.
Am I gonna?
Right?
Am
We were told about an OnlyFans and we didn't get it. We're upset.
Am I gonna get canceled because I don't want to be horny. I just want to be happy on my Instagram.
Probably.
It's Instagram, so yeah.
Probably.
Sweet.
That's what you post on Weese's OnlyFans.
No, what I'll post on Weese's OnlyFans is just a fucking cropped photo of Weese on some really weird shit. Like, we're gonna take the video of that one dude who like does suitable for work content on Pornhub. Like, he's like, "Oh, I'm cleaning off the casting couch," and he's just wiping it down with a rag. We're gonna do that and just post Weese's faces on it.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
There
that's
you
just
go.
my life. You guys have to find out about it through that way. My secret life on OnlyFans.
Hey, I got a content suggestion if you do decide to have an OnlyFans.
Oh yeah, I'm opening it up
Sitting
today.
on food. Just sit on food. Like, not even naked, just like on your regular clothes, just sit on food.
Is this to go with your feet in mashed potatoes OnlyFans?
Now,
Like,
do
as
I
a
eat food
compliment?
afterwards, or do I just sit on it?
You guys want to hear
No, you
my?
just sit on it.
Just
You guys want to
like,
hear my actual idea for OnlyFans?
what is it?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I was gonna make a joke one where it's just like, oh, like put your penis in like a fucking taco shell or put it in a hot dog bun and like just like serve it up like regular dinner, but it's like your penis in it. And I thought that was
See,
fucking hilarious.
But you would need someone to, eat it.
I
You would
could
need someone to put it in your mouth.
listen. I could probably find somebody that if I made enough money off the OnlyFans, I could pay them to just sit there and take a bite of the food and just ignore the penis.
You hear that, Robbie? This is your new job opportunity, bud. Get in
No,
here.
Robbie's gonna make the food for me because he's a chef.
How much are you paying me? I'll do it.
Listen, why would I say that when I already had somebody to agree to be the cameraman? They're just gonna have to double up jobs.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
This is your
Yeah,
job.
Alljay
as
was
a
telling me
cameraman.
about. Alljay was telling me when I saw him about how he's gonna start an OnlyFans for feet pics in food. I'm just like, dude, that's just weird, bro.
See, the best part of this
That's
is
not
though,
weird. So I'm sure people are into that. I'm
Don't
sure
kink
people are
shame
into
around
that.
here.
the best part of it being is I said all of that with the intentions of it not being my penis in the food. I'm gonna use someone else for
Still
it.
ended up with.
Fair enough. I mean, respectable. Anyways, we've broke the hour-and-a-half mark, and now we're devolving into degeneracy. So, might be a good idea to call the podcast here before we say some
What?
things we
It's
might
degenerate
regret.
to talk about a dick and a hot dog bun? I don't want to live on this planet.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yes,
should
it
probably stop.
is.
It's 2 NSFW.
Right? We should probably stop before we start revealing things that we shouldn't be revealing on the internet.
At this point,
But,
you just see a little achievement pop up that says
Hey,
"Too far,
man.
guys."
I don't know about
We
you. I
don't
got
have
nothing to hide.
anything secret to reveal, so don't take that the wrong way.
Anyways,
Just wait till we
Any
do the one
closing-
podcast where we're drunk or something. It's like, look at this.
Instantly.
and I'm
canceled.
going to move swiftly past that. Any closing thoughts on the podcast today, guys?
So Brian,
let's start with our guest. Let's let you give your closing thoughts.
Well, I'm kind of sad that we didn't figure out a name for Mama fans while we were here. But other than that, everything went pretty great.
To be fair, we also didn't try, but
Yeah,
thanks for
exactly.
that.
So if
JB,
anyone has a suggestion,
closing
leave it in the
comments?
comments.
I have 2 comments. Brian, I need to actually gauge your response to this. If I were to show up for the next recording absolutely shit-faced, what would you do?
I'm
Hypothetically
not
speaking,
answering this question.
Why aren't you answering this question? I need a valid answer to decide if I'm going to do it or not.
I invoke my right to remain silent,
And
to not incriminate myself.
closing statement is, I mean, yeah, I'm just enjoying life, and I'm glad that we actually get an outlet to talk about these things because it's honestly a highlight for my week because working at a retail job, you kind of just have to play your character of, oh, how can I help you today?
Until you snap and kill someone.
Oh man,
Hey, I'm not going
that just
postal
makes me
just
feel
yet.
like such an NPC character. That just makes me feel like an NPC character. It's,
I mean, to be fair, aren't we all?
I'm 100%
Well,
Well,
PC.
that depends. Do you
I
have
like
an
to
inner
believe
monologue?
sometimes I'm the main character.
Fuck, that reminds me of that meme. Fucking the meme video. Fuck, I'm a side character.
I'm a side
You remember
character
that
of my
one?
own story. What the fuck you
Yep,
mean?
side character.
We've
Oh,
already
man, that was good.
determined Brian is the protagonist.
Well, fair enough, you know. Anyways, Alljay, closing thoughts before this podcast gets an extra hour added to it.
Closing thoughts. I don't know if I said this last episode. Kids don't do drugs.
You did say it last episode.
Resident Evil sounds fun, but I'm probably not going to play it.
You insult drugs and then you insult Resident Evil? What is this?
That's it for me.
That's it for him. All right. As
have
for
one
me,
more thing to say.
oh my god, this is going to be a 2-hour podcast.
No. I forgot to mention during the games section earlier. I just want to say that I'm really excited for the Shin Megami Tensei games coming out.
Oh,
year.
hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And now that will be an hour-long extra recording, so let's just stop it right there. But I'm excited for those.
Yeah, we'll save that for next time Weiss is on for me and him to nerd out about that shit.
After that, we played it.
All right. Well, as for my closing remarks, again, thank you for everyone who managed to listen this far. Like if you want JB to eat his shorts. Subscribe if you want to hear more from us. You know, comment JB's a big poopy idiot head if you don't like him and think he's the bad guy here.
Comment Brian is a stinky head if you agree with me.
We are actually adults, by the way, in case you were wondering. We're not secretly 12 years old. But yeah,
Don't
thanks
say
everyone for
anything
listening
you agree
again.
with
My
me,
ID says 22, but mentally I'm 15.
Anyways, thanks everyone for listening once again to episode 2 of the Subpar Mechanics podcast. Hope you all enjoyed. This will be going live on Friday, and the next episode will be out 2 weeks from then. So take care, everyone. Hope to catch you all next time.